Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Oh, hey.
So tonight, or a couple weeks ago, Bam took us through all of the shiz that surrounds the Mona Lisa, right?
Well, not the Mona Lisa itself, but more the theft of the Mona Lisa.
The guy who ganked that. He was just like,
gang.
It's a pretty hilarious story.
If you can play Benny Hill music over it, we recommend it.
Yeah.
Well, that's
it
more
was just
circus.
one
Yeah, close
dumb
enough.
thing after another.
Close enough. I mean, it's, yeah. The guy was dumb.
What was the thing on Amazon that you sourced it from? It's like a art theft thing.
Art of the Heist.
Okay, Art of the Heist.
Yep.
So yeah, it's
Cool.
That's where we got the information for it.
Yep. They made a documentary. There's a whole bunch of other
I believe there's
documentaries.
also
6 or
a
7
drunk
episodes.
history episode on this exact thing too, the theft of it. I don't
Is it
think I've
really?
seen it,
Nice.
it, though. I've been told that, but I haven't seen it.
I haven't seen
It's
it either.
probably way better.
Yeah, it's probably way better.
Well, it's
than,
not as informative because those are like 10 minutes long, and this was like an hour. So
Yeah.
But
We go real deep
But the
dive
drunken
into how fucking
ramblings were
stupid it
probably
was.
yeah,
better
probably-
from them.
Yeah,
And knowing me, probably were still more accurate than in theirs.
It's possible. I mean,
but
We're
yeah,
not professional.
enjoy this episode, everybody. Roll.
Damaged by you, damaged by me. I'm confused, don't wanna be confused.
I'm pretty sure every podcast episode so far has started with me eating something.
probably.
Probably cheesesteaks or Cheez-Its or whatever. Hey, everybody.
Cheese dicks. Hi, everyone.
How's it going? We're back.
How are you?
Back for another episode.
Wait.
Art damaged.
There's cheese sticks?
No.
Cheese
No.
dicks.
Cheese, steak, dicks. Who knows?
Dude,
Whatever.
go see a doctor.
All right.
All right.
We're here again. How is everybody today?
Good.
I am well.
Drinking.
Yeah?
Refreshed.
Drinking our beers from the North Brewery.
North Brew.
We have this lovely sign that I put
You
up
can
here
see
today.
it
It's been
in the
sitting here for
back.
6 months, and I just put it up.
We got a sponsor.
Yeah,
We've had a sponsor.
our only sponsor. Hey, if you want to sponsor us, your thing could be here right below it.
Yeah.
We won't mention it the entire time.
We could do one of those keep your trims pubed sort of.
Come
Talking,
sponsor us.
yeah.
Manscaped ad like
You could
every
give
other
us,
podcast.
You could give us money. You could.
Yeah, come sponsor us. Give us free shit. We might mention you at some point.
Aren't there like art boxes, like Loot Crate, where they just send out art stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, they
The
don't have
art
anything to
box.
do
You
with
should
this
probably
podcast,
sponsor.
Don't talk about it till they give us money. Shh.
Seriously, you
Oh,
just gave
shit.
free. Bleep it out. When we do the episode, just bleep out the name.
All right. I'll say I'm going to do that and then never do that.
All right, cool.
But anyway,
like a
we're
plan.
drinking beer from the North Brewery today. Once again.
Which I was told by Zach, we should mention that coming soon, they are going to have more cans.
Yeah. That's usually how it goes,
Yeah.
especially in the COVID lockdown.
Yeah,
That's how specific he was able to give.
Yeah.
Get.
Well, they were smart enough, to keep canning
Yeah.
throughout the whole lockdown stuff and keep themselves afloat. So if you're ever in
They got a
the
shitload.
mood for some craft beer, locally brewed craft beer in the Endicott area,
Always
hit 'em up.
rotating.
New cans pretty much every week.
Yep.
They're all awesome.
Yeah.
We got quite a bit on the table here.
Yeah.
I think I'm
we're
drinking
alcoholics.
the last of this refreshing sour. Lawn
Oh, that
chairs.
cherry sour.
Lawn chairs and beer shares.
Bam is drinking the Twang.
Twang.
What is that? It's an orange sour, right?
Tangerine.
Citrus tangerine sour.
Yeah.
That's a very refreshing beer. I do
is.
enjoy some of that.
It is.
Okay, let's go around and plug our socials again. Josh Ruff at joshruff.com, www.joshruff.com, and we're at Renaissance Studios at RS Tattoo NY on Instagram.
Hi, guys. Reggie Cuvelier here. I'm a tattooer here at RS Tattoo NY. You can find me online at Reggie Inks on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And if you have any questions or would like to hire me for anything, you can commission me at reggieinks@gmail.com.
You might want to say art related. Narrow that down.
I will
This
do
is not-
anything for money. I will do. I just spent 4 months.
He's got an OnlyFans page, is what he's trying to
$20
say.
is $20.
$18. I'll paint a picture using only my butt. I'll start an OnlyFans page, but I'll call it Only Cans, and you get to submit beer and watch me drink it. Boom.
And pay to watch you drink it.
Yeah.
Give me free beer and
Yeah.
Make
Yeah.
that money. I'm Christina Maslar at Christina_Maslar on Instagram. You can find me on Facebook, Google, Crucible Gallery.
Google me, bitch.
Yeah, Google me, bitch. That's about it.
Bam Maslar. You can find me on Instagram at Bam_Maslar. You can go to my website, bamburnsthings.com. Co-owner of Crucible Gallery at Crucible Gallery on Instagram. www.crucibleartgallery.com.
Tight. So what are we talking about today, Bam?
Leonardo.
Can I first
The
say
Ninja Turtle?
Yeah.
Or DiCaprio'd.
Oh.
Ooh, you guys want to talk? Yeah. Let's just screw all the plans we had. Let's just
Oh,
talk about
shit. All right, never
Leonardo.
Let's
mind.
talk
You wrote
about
an
Marvin's
episode.
Room.
What?
Marvin's Room. Have you ever watched that? It's about a kid who sets his fucking room on fire. It's Leonardo DiCaprio. It's from like the 90s.
Is this like
See,
Gilbert Grape?
I was thinking more. I was thinking more
It's
Gilbert
right
Grape.
after.
Yeah, I was definitely thinking more. What's eating Gilbert Grape? Yeah.
Is he still retarded?
Gilbert. I killed it. Just sitting there smashing bugs, being like, I killed it, Gilbert.
Just wiping his nose.
Killed it.
Just wiping his nose with the bugs.
I must say, it took me like a good decade to realize it was the same person in both movies. I just thought they'd legit hired a special needs person for Gilbert
Same here.
Grape.
Yeah.
The dangerous retard.
I watched that movie I watched that movie with my mom when I was a kid. Me and her watched it during one summer when she was off because she was a teacher. And at the end of it, she would try to do the whole like takeaway type thing, like, "What did you learn from this?" Like, and I responded with, "Don't become a fat ass, or I'm going to burn the house down." she didn't like that answer.
Great lesson. You got it, Bam. That's exactly what the point that movie was trying to get across.
Yeah.
What's eating Gilbert Grape? His mom.
Yeah, Gilbert Grape.
All right, so when you say Leonardo, we're obviously not talking about Leonardo DiCaprio. What are we talking about precisely?
The Ninja Turtles. No, we're going to talk about Mona Lisa and art theft.
Oh, art theft of
Interesting.
La Gioconda, as it's known.
He didn't name it the Mona Lisa because he didn't speak English.
Yeah. I knew that.
We should have
I
a
think
bullet
that
point.
translates to like the
First fact
smiling
of the
one or
day.
something like that.
Okay.
I could be wrong on that, though.
First edit of the day, 20 seconds in. All right. So, yeah, Leonardo da Vinci. He started working on it in 1503. He lived in Italy at the time. And the model for it was, I'm going to butcher all of these names, Lisa Giardini. And it was commissioned by her husband. So her husband was Francesco del Giocondo. He married her when she was 15 years old.
Was she also always that handsome of a woman?
I'm not sure because there was no wedding photos.
Was it a pen pal situation?
Nice.
And he's like, I can't back out.
Well, it was also his third wife.
Ooh.
So,
Marrying for those dowries, collecting them like Pokemon.
yeah. So, well, he convinced Leonardo to do a painting of her. He never actually paid him for it. Leonardo worked on it from 1503 to 1506. And at that point, he kind of put it on hold. Everyone thought it was done, but he put it on hold.
Well, from what I understand, he was never finished with any of his paintings. Like, he
Yeah.
would just obsess
Bounce
over stuff
around.
and constantly change things. Like, I think he repainted the smile on the Mona Lisa like several times, like just
Probably.
to get it right, so it's just subtle.
Is that where the expression comes from? The Mona Lisa smile?
Yeah,
Like
Yeah.
something you just
something
can't quite
that,
get
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Well, at that point in 1506, I guess he put it on hold because he actually got a paying gig and started, getting paid. Put it on hold. The guy never paid him, but he was also kind of just a wanderer, so he traveled around all these places. So I guess he carried with him the Mona Lisa like everywhere he went.
So he was the Masti Hoopa of Italy.
Yeah, shout out to Masti Hoopa, the drunk guy from downtown Binghamton. Rest in peace.
Very local reference here.
If you
Yeah.
give him a shot, he'll gladly shovel your driveway never.
Yeah.
He'll say he's going to do it, though.
Yeah. But you always had to get him the shot first. So yeah, it was commissioned by him, never actually paid him for it. He traveled around with it. And then they believe he finished it finally in 1517, so 14 years after starting it.
Is that why she looks like she has a receding hairline?
Pretty much. Probably
She
was
lose
receding
hair.
by the end of it. Yeah. Everyone always thought that like she was dressed in mourning clothes because it's black clothes, but I guess she wasn't as well off as everyone thought she was. So he just painted her in like really nice Spanish garb.
Should we just look at the painting?
We probably should. Let's just bring it up.
All right, cool. Oh, wait. Totally fucking up here.
Or we can just vaguely describe it the whole time. There's some
In
mountains.
case you haven't seen it, the Mona Lisa is a lady.
It is
Somewhat.
everybody's fucking seen
Somewhat.
this painting. Everybody knows what it is. It's arguably the most famous painting in all of human history.
Yeah, it's quoted as, let's see, the best known, the most visited, the most written about, the most sung about, and the most parodied work of art in the world.
The Da Vinci Code, bro.
Yeah.
I feel like it was also a really popular
I-
screensaver in the 90s. It like came built.
I'm pretty sure this has
Probably.
made its rounds everywhere.
Well, later on, it has quoted as being reproduced over 300 times, 300 known paintings of it, as well as used over 2,000 times in advertising.
Oh, yeah, of course.
In modern day.
Like I said, most famous painting of all time.
Pretty much, yeah. But it was acquired by King Francis I of France in the 16th century for his personal collection. You all right there, Reg?
You didn't even have to call that one out. Just got a mouthful of foam. Sorry.
Oh, okay. You look like you're about to sneeze on me. Make sure to put your mouth covering on.
So what were you saying?
Keep going. Keep it going.
So at that point, it was then owned by the Republic of France. The Louvre was open at the time, and it became part of their permanent display collection in 1797
permanent.
until 1911.
I think we're going to get to that, though. That's the
Yeah.
whole point of this episode. We're
Yep.
actually talking about art theft today, and
Art
not
theft.
just
Not just the
Leonardo.
Mona
I'm not
and the
just
Mona Lisa.
reading out some random bullshit facts
Yes,
at you.
it's going somewhere.
Yeah.
It's gonna get good.
Yeah, so that does actually bring it to 1911, the theft of Mona Lisa.
Dun dun dun. Where's the soundboard?
So at the time, the Louvre kind of, just sucked because they had all this great stuff, but they didn't actually, try to protect it at all.
Uh-huh.
And so they described it as the dozens of security guards, close to probably 200 at one point, but they weren't actual security guards. They were retired soldiers from the War Department of France.
So they didn't give a shit. Is basically.
They were referred to mostly as drunkards, and they would tend to either wander off or fall asleep while on duty.
My God. Like if we were at the museum watching things,
Yeah,
Oh my God. That's
basically.
so funny. You imagine these guys sitting there getting drunk and being like, hey, look at that dog. And then like all of a sudden they're in the alley.
100%. Yeah.
I just gave that dog a beer and it totally puked. This is awesome.
But it sounds like most of the employees at this point were about subpar like this. So the theft actually took place on a Monday. It was August 21st, 1911. And at that point, they always kept the museum closed on Mondays because that would be the day of cleaning and photographing, moving stuff around, setting up displays, everything like that. And at that point, they actually had no supervision of workers.
Okay.
So everyone who was working was just there.
Anybody could just fucking walk in there and
Well,
take shit.
Everyone who was working was they were just doing their own thing. And I guess on Mondays they were partially staffed, so they only employed 10 guards on Monday
Okay.
for this like 100 million square foot building.
So they were probably just napping in stairways.
Pretty much, yeah. Well, speaking of that comes up actually. So a man named Vincenzo Poricia, he was a 30-year-old man who was a carpenter, had left Italy and come to France because he couldn't get a job. He was a carpenter. He got hired by a glass company and was brought into the Louvre to build all of the boxes around the paintings. They were supposed to be the glass that would protect them. Mm-hmm. And so that was basically his job, and he was brought in. That was in 1910.
I wonder if that happened because remember that one Russian painting that got acid thrown on it?
That was after, though.
That was after?
Yeah, this
I
is
thought
when
it
they
was
first
before.
started to like learn. Hey,
Shout
we
out
should-
to Cursed Artwork, one of
Yeah.
our previous episodes.
they were basically like, hey, we should probably start protecting our shit. So he was unemployed at the time of the actual art theft, but so he gets up that morning and he goes down and he was like just wandering around outside, I guess, and walked up and the side gate was open. And there's supposed to be a guard on duty, but there just was nobody there. So he just
He was giving beer to dogs in the alley.
pretty much, yeah.
He was taking his mid-afternoon siesta, followed by his morning siesta.
Yes.
So he
You
just
know, break time.
so he just
Late afternoon nap.
So he just wandered in and he starts wandering around and everything. And none of the 10 guards that were on duty were in that entire section of the museum where the Mona Lisa was.
Were they even in the museum? Honestly.
Maybe.
No, 2 were passed out in their fucking janitor closet. The other 8 were having like a craps tournament out back in the alley. Be like, come on, Snickers!
So if you actually bring it up, there's a photo of the next photo over, of how the display actually was. So most of the paintings at the time were just kind of,
Is that Mark Twain?
yeah, that would be Mark Twain.
That is Mark Twain?
No, it is not Mark Twain. So all the paintings were just hung next to each other. There, as you can see, there's really not much protection or anything. Like you can just walk up as close as you want to it.
Yeah,
So-
I mean, it looks like they're dangerously close to getting paint on these paintings.
Yeah, they
Like
would just
this
let
guy.
people in there to
Oh
paint.
yeah, that's actually how they found out about it. So he goes up to the painting and nobody's around, and he just simply takes it off the wall. And he's got it's in the glass enclosure at this point. So he takes the glass enclosure as well with him, and in the frame,
I like his style.
everything.
It's like, this is a package deal. I'm getting all this.
And he just wanders away, and he's wandering around the museum just carrying this painting. And he even admitted like he had wandered past people, but
They were like, hey, Vincenzo, how's it hanging?
pretty much, yeah. Just they thought he was supposed to still be there, even though he hadn't been employed there in like 2 years. So then he went down and he was going down a side staircase, and security happened to be coming by at the time. So he was like, shit, I'm just going to sit here and wait. So he just hung out and sat on the staircase for like half an hour and waited for security to leave. And then at that point was like, I'm sick of carrying this giant glass enclosure and the frame and all that. So he sat there and took it all apart, took it out of the frame, and just wrapped the frame in like a shirt.
Just put it in like a dinner towel.
Pretty much, yeah. It was just a white linen that he had. Just wrapped up the Mona Lisa, which was on a piece of wood. Yeah. Wanders down the stairs and gets to the bottom of the stairs, and there's a door there that typically used to be unlocked, and he gets there and it's locked. So he's like, shit, now I can't get through it. So he starts taking apart the door, and he ends up taking the doorknob off of the door.
By the way, props to security so far for figuring all this shit
It
out.
gets better.
Turns around, and the plumber that he actually knows is like, hey, Vincenzo, what's up? Is standing there. And he's like, oh, bro, the door's locked. He's like, oh, okay, here. And he unlocks it for him. Meanwhile, never questioning why the doorknob's not attached to the door anymore.
Or the fact that he has a giant draped towel over a rectangular piece of wood. And it's
oh,
just
yeah,
like,
yeah.
With the fucking Mona Lisa underneath all that shit.
So then he wanders out, and he starts wandering through like the courtyard area, and he goes over to where the side gate is. Now, the side gate is supposed to have what they refer to as a concierge. So it was a guy that was there. You're supposed to ring the bell or pull the cord, and then he would admit you or not admit you in. Instead,
The Wizard of Oz?
exactly, yeah. Instead, he had opened it, left it cracked open, and just left for the day. The gate. So he just left it.
Even the concierge was not there.
Yeah. So he just left it partially open.
I'm kind of jealous how easy it was to get away with shit like this back then.
Yeah. So he
Before cameras and shit.
simply just
Or security, apparently.
wandered out and then walked around, I guess, the entire perimeter of the Louvre carrying this to get to his house because it was on the wrong side of the building. Carried it all the way around and then just wandered like the 12 blocks home to actually where he lived in like what they now refer to as like the ghetto section of France. And later on, they said that his apartment actually had no heat and barely any water, and it was damp.
Perfect conditions for painting preservation.
Yeah.
Exactly. So you were talking about the how they would have like artists that would come in, and if you go to the next one, they'll show, there it is, it's just missing.
Yoink.
So the next day,
Like, hey, have you guys seen the Mona Lisa?
that's exactly it. The next day, a local
The guy was
artist.
like, sorry, I was napping. What?
Yeah.
Hey, who was supposed to lock up last night? Bam, Reggie, what are you guys doing?
Mona Lisa, is she the lady that comes and dusts all the paintings?
Dude, you don't
No.
understand. There's totally awesome dog came out back last night.
This kind of cute girl walked up and like wanted to smash. So what do you want me to do?
There was a guy painted like a robot.
So this all took place on a Monday. So then you fast forward to now Tuesday opening morning, and this is early morning Monday. So opening time on Monday, local painter Louis Barou came in and he wanted to try and do a master copy of it. So he brought all his paints and everything. He came in, he walks up, it's not there, and he got super pissed. So he's walking around. He found one of the random security guards, and he's just like, "Hey, dude, where's the painting?" And the security guard, instead of like doing anything, was just like, "Oh, it's probably being photographed or something. I don't really know." So Louis Barou kind of walked around the museum, was asking like different security guards, and none of them really knew where this was. So finally they were like, "Oh, I guess we should just go check the guy who photographs the artwork and see if he's got it." So they went in and they looked for it and they couldn't find it. And they were like, "Oh, maybe the director has it." No idea why he would have it. So they went to his office, wasn't there. So at this point they were like, "We should probably look around the museum for it." So they spent like 3 hours just walking around the museum looking to see if they could find this painting.
Do you think they were amazed about the amount of artwork that was in that museum?
Oh my god.
They're like,
I
I've never even
don't even
been
know we had
inside."
this.
Pretty much. And meanwhile, the director of the museum isn't even in town. He's out of town. So he's not even notified of this.
So they're like, maybe the director took it on vacation? We don't know.
Dude,
It sounds like the Louvre really has their shit together at this point in time.
So, and at this point, they would also had numerous threats over the last 2 years, that somebody was planning on stealing it. Like they kept like writing them
That painting
letters.
specifically.
That painting specifically, as well as there was numerous smaller thefts that took place in the museum that they got away with completely.
I kind of hope they came
which comes up
upon
later.
the statue of Nike and was like, oh shit, they stole her head and arms too. We have to get this person.
I love the idea of them like just wandering around the museum.
Yeah.
They're like, "Hi, where'd that thing go? Hey, did we lose Starry Night? We're not looking for Starry Night." And then
I
just,
didn't even
like,
think that was
throws-
painted at this time, but that's hilarious.
No, that was in New York. So, yeah, they just kind of wandered around 11 o'clock in the morning. So almost 4 hours after the museum was supposed to be open, they finally call the police. The police immediately start panicking. They're like, shit, we know that this is an actual issue. They call in Scotland Yard and they send in 60 Scotland Yard members to like go through this entire museum and look for this painting.
For those
I
who
hope they
are
showed
not-
up in one cop car. Just one
Just all
ice
poured out
cream
of it.
size cop car where they just kept pouring out like a clown car.
Did they even have cars back then? This is 1911. They have to be pretty sparse. Be more a horse and buggy kind of thing.
They
true.
come flying up on their horse. Yeah. So they end up going around the whole museum and everything, and they finally find at the bottom of the staircase the glass enclosure. And so they pull it out and everything, and they're looking at it, and they bring in actually the number one forensic scientist in the world at the time, Alphonse Batillon,
Sherlock Holmes?
Sherlock Holmes,
Close enough.
Alphonse Batillon.
who immediately looks at everyone and goes, it was clearly an inside job. He just looked at them and was like, okay.
I thought they were like the way the story's been going so far. I thought they'd be like, "Oh, this is evidence. Let me completely ignore this and go on with my day."
Someone left this frame here. Gross.
Hey, who left a half-eaten burrito by the back door with no doorknob on it? God, you guys could let somebody in
Somebody
last
pick
night.
up this frame and all this glass. What the fuck?
Well, that's the best part is that he looks it over and he's like, there's clearly a giant thumbprint on this from the dude's left hand. So
I hope he ate a snack while he was hiding. And
I think so.
fucking
I'm
stared
pretty
at
sure.
me.
I'm pretty sure he was eating a burrito.
Some gross food. Yeah, like super
Just
messy. Can
burritos,
barely
some-
eat with
I
like
mean, this
one
is
hand.
France, right? They're probably a croissant or something.
He's just sitting there.
I think it might be some ranch-covered sunflower seeds and just licking, touching shit.
I'm gonna put my thumbprint
Powder
right
and
here.
fucking.
just wiping the wall. Yeah. So they took a look at it. Now, Vincenzo was actually a criminal, or had been arrested previously. He was not a very good criminal.
I never would
Are
have
you
guessed.
sure? It sounds like you fucking
He
masterminded this
outsmarted the
operation.
military.
Man,
2 other crimes he had committed in the past.
MacGyver.
The first one, the first one, it was theft of pipes from a building, which when he was leaving, they came up and
my
he was
God.
carrying the pipes, so he got arrested.
Were they doing copper
is that-
recycling at that time?
Yeah,
Oh no.
nope, that's later on.
Okay.
So the second one, this one's the great one. He tried to rob a prostitute. It didn't go over well, and the prostitute, I guess,
Oh, she
just
probably kicked his ass.
yeah, I guess just knocked him out,
Yeah.
and he ended up getting arrested for it.
I'm surprised he didn't get shot with one of those like tiny little muff pistols. Those
Muff
bitches
pistols.
don't play. Yeah.
Yeah, a 1900s French prostitute would probably stab the shit out of you.
It might have been
any
this
hesitation.
guy.
It actually might have been Italy at that point.
Okay.
I'm not sure where the prostitute came in.
Oh, she probably yelled at him down an alleyway and then stabbed him when he
Hey,
turned
you
around.
guys! So
I'm sorry, did hookers want money? I'm just a baby. I don't have any money. Stab, 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 stab.
So he gets arrested at that point. This is before he even tries to rob the Louvre, or even before he worked there. At which point they fingerprint him. However, they didn't realize at the time that, you have 2 hands. So they only fingerprinted his right hand. They never fingerprinted his left hand.
So someone that worked at the Louvre fingerprinted him.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
So when he left the thumbprint on the glass,
wrong hand?
it was on the left hand, not the right hand. So that's why they had no idea. Exactly.
He outsmarted us again.
That's why they had no idea. So then Scotland Yard comes in and they decide that they're going to sit everyone down who works there. Everyone who's employed by the Louvre or has been employed by the Louvre for years, they're going to sit them down and interview them and ask them, like, do you know anything? Except they forgot about the 4 people who were hired as private contractors to come in and build the glass frames around all the paintings. So out of the 204 people who were employed there, he was one of 4 not interviewed during their
I feel
plan.
like this is a episode of Fargo, like
it's
in the
seriously.
early 1900s.
It gets kind of dumber too. That's the best part. So he just kind of goes home and that's it. He just has this. He ends up putting it in a trunk and just shoves it under his bed and just leaves it there. And so,
So he had no plan. He was just like, I'm going to do this.
well,
Crime of opportunity, huh?
years later,
Oh my God.
when after everything is said and done, when he is finally caught, he's actually said that the whole reason he did it is because he wanted to return it to its rightful home in Rome.
He did know Da Vinci died, right?
Not only did he not, I don't think, understand that, he never understood that he thought that the French had come in and stolen it from the Italian museum, which that comes up later. They were like,
That's how museums get artwork.
We never
They steal
actually
it from other museums.
we never actually owned this. It wasn't ours. It's never even been displayed here. But yeah, so they waited around for like 6 months, no leads, nothing. And at that point, there was a whole group of people who, it was like a group of friends, hoodlums, basically they called them, and they were called the Band of Picasso. And it was led by Pablo Picasso and a poet, Alponier.
Oh, this came up in a Two Truths and a Lie.
It did.
Yep, Alponier. And basically, one of the members of the group was actually the one who had committed the previous Louvre robbery, where he had broken in, stolen 2 Egyptian statues, and then
Nice.
and dipped out with them.
It's a good way to raise the dead.
Yeah. He calls up Alpenier and is like, hey, man, I just stole these 2 statues. You want to buy one? And the dude's like, well, yeah, of course I want this Egyptian statue. So he buys one. And he's like, well, what am I going to do with the other one? So he's like, well, see if Picasso wants it. He's like, but don't tell him that it's stolen because he won't buy it. So they don't actually tell him. They just go over and they're like, here, and give it to him.
It's not hot. The brakes just don't work.
So it's like 2 years later, now the Mona Lisa is stolen, and Alpenier hears about it and is like, shit, I got other stolen items from the museum. I'm going to get called in on this. So he goes over to Picasso and he's like, hey, man, remember that statue that we gave you? It's actually stolen from the Louvre, and we're probably going to be wanted criminals.
Good way to start a convo. Perfect.
So Picasso's...
This seems like a really shitty gang, by the way.
So Picasso's whole...
Pecan Sandies.
So Picasso's whole idea at this point is, well, if we just destroy it, then there's nothing that says it's ours. Let's go take it down by the river, and we're just going to toss these statues in the river.
My God, this sounds like the plot for
Perfect.
Band of Robbers.
Oh, 100%. Greatest movie. Alponier is actually like, no, I don't think we should do that. I'm going to go to the police, and I'm going to turn myself in that I had the stolen property. You should come with me. So he goes separate. He goes down there. He turns himself in. He's like, yo, I got this stuff. And so does Picasso. So they bring Picasso in, and Picasso's like, I don't know this dude. And totally rats on, like, just totally denies ever knowing him.
Great.
So Alpenier ends up going to jail and gets arrested. And Picasso, they look at him and they're like, okay, clearly you've never robbed a museum. And they just let him go. And that was it.
And now I got
Meanwhile,
2 Egyptian
he's banging
statues.
17-year-olds and drinking heavily and hanging out with Hemingway.
He's just sitting there at home with 2 Egyptian shadows.
Making a kiss.
I'm ISIS. I'm Osiris. Boo, 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 boo.
Action figure.
So
That's so funny. Man, this is like the stupidest shit ever. I love it.
Oh my God.
Keep going.
Dude, we have to like animate this, man. This is
it's so good. So for 2 years, this dude,
Okay, wait. You probably don't have the notes, but what happened to the dismantled door? Did everybody just like look past that one? Because you said he like was in
Oh,
the process of
the-
ripping the door apart, and then the janitor walked by with the keys.
He took the doorknob off.
Yeah.
So that was as far as he got with it. He carried that down the street, the painting under one arm, the doorknob in the other, and then ditched the doorknob in front of the front entrance.
Oh my God. And even the guys from Scotland Yard show up like fucking these Sherlock Holmes bros. And they're not even like, hey, do you think anybody got out of this door that was broken?
So it's like, who left this fucking doorknob? They're like, gross, throw it away.
Oh,
Garbage.
evidence. Just ignore that.
That blood on the wall,
Find something else.
wash it off.
Yeah, for some reason there's a doorknob in the fountain. I don't know who would put a doorknob in the fountain.
Stupid artwork. I don't get it.
All right,
So-
where were you?
So the dude just sat on the painting for 2 years, slept on it, literally. It was under his bed.
Do you think he like made out with it when he was real drunk? He's like, hey, Lisa.
Oh my
How you
God.
doing?
He's sitting there like looking at her, like putting on his own makeup. Would you fuck me? I'd fuck me.
Well, there was no Pornhub back then, so probably, yeah.
It's possible.
My God.
Oh, God. I am not drunk enough for that.
I wonder what the Mona Lisa looks like under black light.
Oh, no.
So many layers.
Is that tempura? Egg tempura?
No, it's jizz.
Well, then.
So imagine the conservationist having to clean it afterwards. Like,
What is this substance here?
Is that jizz? That's jizz.
Why are you licking it? Why are you licking it?
Why do you know what dried up jizz tastes like? Why are you licking that?
Yeah, so he literally slept on it for 2 years, and then eventually was just like, oh man, this apartment that has no heat in it, it's pretty fucking damp. This painting's probably gonna get ruined. So he calls up his neighbor and is like, yo, dude, I'm actually the one who stole the Mona Lisa. I've been having it sit in my apartment for a while, but I'm worried it's gonna like get ruined. Do you want to just take it and hang on to it for me? And the dude was like, okay. So he just takes it in. So he hung out with it for a couple months himself. And then Vincenzo's like, now's the time. Oh, my bad. Now's the time to return it to the rightful museum. So he...
Why do you fucking take it in the first place then?
Yo, that's a no for me, dog.
So he reaches out to a very high-end collector or art dealer in Italy at the time, in Florence, and is like, hey, I have the Mona Lisa. Is this something that you'd be interested in? And talks about how poor he is and how much he just wants to return it to its rightful home. And so the art
Was he like, you dumb son of a bitch? It belongs to the Louvre.
pretty much. So the art dealer reaches out to, again, I'm going to pronounce this completely wrong, but the Uffizi Museum, which is in Florence. He reaches out to the art director and is like, hey, so I got this letter, and it basically says that he has the Mona Lisa. It's missing, and he's really poor, and he doesn't want any money for it. He just wants to return it, but he wants it specifically to you. And the director of the museum was like, yeah, well, who's it from? He goes, I don't know. He just signed it Leonardo. He just wrote Leonardo as the name of the, as himself. He
Like Da Vinci was like, hey, I want to return this to you from my grave.
Yeah, pretty much.
I've been dead hundreds of years, but here you go.
Yeah. So they're like, let's get it from him. So at this point, he then decides to hop a train with the painting, just throw it in a trunk, throw it in the cargo area of a train.
Does this dumb son of a bitch think he's Biff Tannen?
And bring it from Italy or from France to Italy,
Dude,
on a
this
train.
This is all so crazy so far because, like, think of like the many occasions that this painting was just like under this dude's arm or some shit on a fucking train where this, like, the most cherished painting of all of human history could have just been destroyed.
Yeah.
And we're talking about, you said the 1910s, right? We started in 11.
1911.
So if we
Now
rewind,
it's not-
fast forward 3 years. So
1913 is now.
when was World War One?
That was
So it's just covered in sweat
15
and
to
cholera.
20 or something.
yeah, it
like
was
that?
slightly after that, I think.
Yes.
Really close to
That
it.
comes into this as well.
Yeah, just whipping around the World War One with some shit.
It's specifically November 29th, 2000, or
2000.
November 29th, 1913 is when they get the letter. So he rolls into town, and he didn't even have like a hotel or anything to stay at. So he's just wandering around Florence carrying the painting with him, just wandering around. And then he finally books a like one-person room at some random, probably a prostitute place.
Prostitute place?
Yeah,
He
prostitute
didn't learn
place.
his lesson the first time.
Probably not. So he goes, and then he reaches out, and he's like, hey, I'm here if you guys want to come look at it.
By the
To
way,
a
I just
brothel?
imagine...
Pretty much, yeah.
He's
I-
like, yo, I know some girls. Do you want to hang out?
I just imagine he put it underneath his shirt as protection in case another prostitute tried to stab him.
Oh my god.
She's like, they can't get me now.
Like a bulletproof vest, kind of.
So they're like, well, yeah. So they haven't told anyone yet at this point. It's just the two guys who know. So they roll up to the hotel, which is very seedy, sketchy side of town.
Hotel.
Yeah. There is a concierge at,
basically
at
like
the
a-
hotel, though.
oh.
There is a front desk person. They roll in there, and they look at it, and he pulls it out from under the mattress to show them the painting. And they're like, they looked at it, and they immediately knew, because they're high-end art dealers, they immediately knew that this was the actual original. And they're looking at it and everything, and they're like, well, what are you looking for?
$20.
Yeah. And he's not even,
Franks, whatever the fuck
Yeah.
it is over there.
How about you clear my tab with these girls? Because I got a little weird last night, and they rung up a really big bill. I didn't know butt stuff would be that expensive.
I'll give you the Mona Lisa for it, I guess.
I'll give you some Lisa. Yeah, so he just like, yeah. So he's not even asking for any money at this point. And they're like, well, I mean, we have to make sure everything's legit with this and stuff. How about you just let us take it? And he's like, okay. You can take it.
Is this guy
So we
the
got
dumbest
robbed.
criminal ever? The
So-
robber got robbed.
Holy shit.
So
Man, I learned in grade 6. You give me the money, and then I give you the drugs, okay?
That's called a transaction, motherfucker.
So they wrap it up in a sheet, and they go to leave the museum.
Another cum-stained sheet because they're at a fucking whorehouse.
And they go to leave the hotel.
Sorry about
So
the
Mona Lisa's
jizz.
covered
Now-
in cholera, BO, and now herpes.
Yeah.
Cool.
Oh, supposedly, the varnish at that point during the 1500s was actually urine. So chances are she's been peed on as well by Da Vinci.
Nice.
That's a little
Nice.
side note. But I know that there was a front desk concierge person because as they're leaving the hotel, the concierge stops them because he thinks they're stealing artwork from his hotel. So he's like, what the fuck, guys?
So he's doing a better job than
The-
all of the guards.
Yes.
in the line.
Fuck?
So he stops them.
The concierge at a whorehouse
Yeah.
is doing a better job of protecting art than the entire staff of the
Well,
Louvre?
they should have been hired for security then.
Yeah.
Man,
I
I'm
mean, they
sick of-
have knives. They stab people.
Yeah.
So at this point, they unwrap it and show him the painting, to which point the concierge looks and goes, yep, not one of mine. Go ahead and go. So they
Holy
leave with
shit.
it. They literally just walk down the street and just give it to the police. And they're like, yo, he's room like 13 back there. If you want to just like go get him. So if you want to pull up the photo the before, that's how it was returned. It was just, they put it in this case and carried it down the street.
Oh,
And-
what's that white
What
stain
the
in the
fuck?
background?
No.
And just
no.
brought it back.
No.
Look at these guys. Their fucking mustaches.
I know, they're so proper. I feel like we need to have suits. Next time we should wear suits for this.
Only if you get those mustaches.
Yeah, and
Or else
film
they're
at a
not
whorehouse.
proper.
Yeah.
There's a few across the street. So at this point, then the cops go in, raid him, and arrest him. And next up, we actually have his mugshot
Oh, sweet.
with again only his right hand fingerprint.
Son of a bitch.
He looks like a fucking idiot.
So they
Did
arrest
he run
him.
into a door? Like, what's under his eye?
Oh,
Did
yeah.
he get into
That was-
a fisticuffs with another prostitute
Yes.
over money?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, that
Probably.
would make sense.
I said handy, $20. $20.
I mean, that would kind of jive with the rest of the story.
Yeah, he's not very good.
I mean, I'm just a baby. I don't have $20.
I've never done this before. I don't know how it
well,
works.
the guys are going to bring back the money. They took the Mona Lisa, and then they'll pay you.
So, yeah, he goes to trial for it, at which point he's like, yes, because it belongs in this museum. It needs to be in this specific museum. And then they were like, hey, man, it was never in that museum beforehand, so it really doesn't need to be. So they sentenced him to 1 year and 15 days in prison.
He had the Mona Lisa under his bed longer than actually he did jail time?
Yes.
Wow.
So, best part of this.
Imagine if you stole that today.
Hold on.
You'd go
So-
away for fucking life.
So, best part of this, they send him away to jail, and in response, they were like, you know what? We really should probably have it on display here in Italy, since it is an Italian painter. So, for the next 30 days, they kept it on display in that museum, which he never got to see it on display in that museum. And that's the last photo.
Well, what's this one?
That's the museum in Italy.
Oh, that's
Really?
the Italian museum
Yep.
for their temporary.
Which they hired
Mona Lisa
actually.
Surprise exhibit, because we found this here.
Yes, which they actually hired real security guards, and those 4 guys were tasked to stand next to it at all times.
Okay.
I just imagine the whole time he had it, he was like taking bubble baths, and he was taking bubble baths with Mona Lisa. Oh my god! Eating
Just like
spaghetti in front of Mona Lisa.
take it to a picnic, just prop it against a tree.
This is my girlfriend, Mona.
Just Mona.
Do you not like this one? I get a different beer next time.
You would like spaghetti and meatball? Oh, you watch your figure.
Oh, you got a little on your face. Let me clean that up.
Oh, are you smiling?
My Mona. It's my Mona. It's my Mona and me. Like the Kid's My Buddy commercial, and he's just running around with the fucking Mona Lisa painting. Just puts it in a trike, and
With
it's
the
like,
most
"Look, I'll
notable
teach-"
artwork of human history.
Holding
learning
a
how to write
candlelight
his-
up to his face, telling it scary stories. Ooh.
I can't even believe this is true.
Pulling
This
it
is
in a
so-
wagon
so
around
ridiculous.
the neighborhood.
So he gets out of jail.
That's an alley where I got stabbed by a hooker.
So he gets out of jail and basically bums around Italy a year and 15 days later. And he's basically known as like the village idiot. Everyone's like, this fucking
well
scumbag.
deserved fucking title.
They absolutely hate
But
him.
I feel like the guard should have been the village idiot because he was like
The
at the
guard?
top of that totem pole of dumb shit.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah, this just sounds like a huge crime of opportunity. Like he just stumbled upon it. He's like, well, take it.
Possibly. So he ends up, this is right before World War I, because as soon as he gets out, he is now like 33 years old, decides to join up and go away and fight in the war. So he fights in the war for like 3 or 4 years, leaves completely broke, and then makes his way back to France, where he just kind of bums around, is mostly homeless, supposedly was trying to make it as a painter himself, and then died around the age of 45.
I'm surprised Picasso didn't hire him. Was like, dude, you're just gonna sit here and tell me some stories while I make my statues kiss.
So yeah, that's his story.
Okay.
Then there is a little side story as well that goes along with it.
Oh, shit.
And that's because everyone who was like, well, he's a fucking moron. You really think that's the truth? So in 20 years after it's stolen, a journalist in America, Carl Decker, publishes an article about Eduardo Del Fierno, who is a famous con man and art dealer who dealt with mostly forgeries.
Oh, I
And-
think I know that dude. He used to hire people in like rural Italy to do reproductions of
Yep.
statues and then pass them off as missing Michelangelos.
Yes.
Nice.
So he
Good
So he'd
scam.
pay like $20 to someone and
Yep.
sell it for millions.
So
Wow.
he was interviewed right after the Mona Lisa was stolen by Carl Decker, but told him, you are not allowed to publish this until after my death. Once I'm dead, I want everyone to know my secrets. So he comes out with it, and so it's published. And basically what he said was in 1910, he decided, because he was hiring random people to forge artwork.
And the worst part is those people didn't know. He just thought that it was a rich person wanting a reproduction for their home.
Yeah.
So they'd only get paid but a little bit of money that he would give them and then flip it.
So the story goes is that he hired an art forger who took at least 1 year to learn how to paint the Mona Lisa perfectly. At which point he painted then 6 copies of it, and it was completely identical to this. He shipped them to the United States, where 5 of them sat in New York City in a warehouse, and then 1 of them went to Buenos Aires. Now, at this point, he was selling artwork. So
Argentina? Buenos Aires?
yeah. So he was selling artwork, and however, the original is still in the museum. So what he claimed is that he hired Vincenzo and 2 other guys to go in and steal the painting. So his claim is that that all of what Vincenzo was claiming wasn't true. They actually hid out in the museum, slept there overnight, and then after hours, the 3 of them stole it. And Vincenzo never even was supposed to end up with it, but somehow the other 2 guys went missing, and he just kind of was like, oh, I own this now.
So the other 2 guys were dumber than Vincenzo.
Pretty much, yeah.
It's pretty dumb.
So
They just walked off of a bridge into a lake somewhere.
yeah.
Hey, am I supposed to breathe underwater?
So Eduardo at this point then reached out to several known millionaires at the time and sold all 6 copies of it to their private collections.
shit.
However, he
Baller.
never admitted which one it was that it sold to, as well, or like which millionaires, as well as they never came forward because it was in their private collection. So the debate actually nowadays is, okay, if that part is true, is the one in France that everyone goes to the actual original, or is it one of those forgeries?
Then again, the one dude that's like, I'm a millionaire and got this random letter from someone who signed it Leonardo. Did he already have a copy?
Exactly.
And then
That was one of the theories as well. Whether or not the one in the Louvre currently is the real.
Well, wouldn't they have like dated it?
So
Like-
they can date the wood, and the wood is so the actual paint itself is period specific. So
Yeah.
it has the egg in it. It is oil, and it has the correct type of brush strokes, everything like
so
that.
the wood could have just been from an old worm-eaten piece of furniture.
And the wood is from the 1500s. That's what they can confirm. That's how they'll carbon date the actual piece of wood itself.
Which, if you're going to like rural ass Italy, it could be just some old person fucking has a hand-me-down of furniture or some shit in their barn.
Yeah, let's just chop up this old table and paint the Mona Lisa on it.
So you're telling me that the one that's in the Louvre right now
It's
might-
questionable over its
que-
authenticity.
Yeah, questionable.
Possibly. It is possible, yep.
All right, should we go to the last picture then?
Yep, so this is the last one. This is how you can see it now. So barely.
Yeah, like I was looking at this earlier, and it looks like the most miserable experience ever.
Yep.
To see like
Yeah.
I remember seeing Starry Night in high school, and that shit was miserable. I had to jump up to take a picture of it to see it on my phone
yeah.
because you can't get past the wall of bodies that are all taller than you. And it's
MoMA
like
in
11,
Brooklyn?
14.
Yep.
Yeah.
They got kicked out of there
I remember that.
when I got kicked out.
No, just trying to fucking wander through that museum and be like, oh shit, Starry Night's on the 3rd floor. And then, of course, that's when you see like
The sea of
the
people.
concert
People.
depth of people. Like nobody's interested in like, oh wow, here's a historical representation of illustration made for print. And I'm like losing my shit over it. And everybody's nobody else is around.
just want to see Starry Night.
I got kicked out of the MoMA and the Met.
The same weekend.
What, were you belligerently drunk?
No, it was about 2
I
months
couldn't
apart.
pay my hookers.
So when we were at the MoMA, we were in high school at the time. Our teacher was with us, and he was like, "Yo, we need some yearbook photos. Go over there by that statue, and we'll get some photos." And it was a giant bull, and I'm like, "How about we get a picture of us on it?" So we climbed up, and we're on it,
Classic.
and it turns out it was a Henry Matisse sculpture.
Ooh.
So they were like, so security came running and kicked us off of there. So then we're wandering around, and he was like, well, we need to get some other photos. So we were in the sculpture garden. We went over, and he's like, well, look over there. And it was like this giant steel plate in the middle of the ground with like all these weird abstract wires coming out of it. And he's like, go stand by that. So I'm like, hey, it'd be cool if we climbed this too.
No respect for
So
fucking
basically,
sculpture.
so we were climbing it like it was a fucking jungle gym. We're like swinging on it, and so security came over and again was like, okay, now you have to leave. So we go to leave, and it turns out it was one of Pablo Picasso's sculptures.
That's karma for making those statues kiss.
That's what you get.
So that
Nice.
that was the MoMA, and then then we wandered down the street with our teacher, which he left all the other students in there, and so we went down.
So your teacher might have been drunk through this whole process.
It's possible.
Yeah.
So we went down to the NBA store, and we were in there, and so we were just wandering around there, and they had all these signed jerseys.
They had Shaq's shoe there, guys. It was awesome.
They had all these signed jerseys with the handprints. So our teacher went up to the wall and was like, yo, my hands are smaller than this guy's. And just slapped it. And it was hanging not on the wall, but from the ceiling. So the whole thing starts swaying. and like the alarm starts going off. So then security comes and kicked us out of the NBA store.
Nice.
Do you think this whole Picasso Mona Lisa thing was the basis for the Mr. Bean movie and Whistler's Mother?
Oh my God.
It's possible.
He was a shitty security guard. The painting got fucked up, and he had to reproduce it using an old poster.
Well, it actually almost
Nail
did get
polish.
ruined at one point. So in 1962, they actually brought it on a boat. Not sure why they flew it, didn't fly it, on a boat from
It was a booze cruise for the Mona Lisa.
from the Louvre to the Met, and it was on display for 4 months. And so they said that it was, at that point, it was assessed at $100 million insurance, which in today's world would equate to $650 million. So that's why it's rated as like the most expensive painting in the world. And while it was there, the sprinkler system went off during the night.
Yoinks.
It happened to be behind the bulletproof glass, but had it not been, it would have just been sprayed almost the whole night long
Jesus
by
Christ.
the sprinkler.
So after it survived that dude's bed.
Yeah.
Yep.
And all the other trials and tribulations along the way.
Yep. And
It gets doused with water.
in the 4 months that it was
12
on,
hours straight.
I want to know all.
in the 4 months it was on display.
How is this still a thing? Like, inside.
At this point, it seems like she's cursed and she just wants to die.
All right, I have a side question about this too. If that were to go on the auction today, the Mona Lisa, the penultimate painting to any like layman who doesn't know anything about art, that's what they think of as like the best painting in the world.
Billions.
How much do you think it would sell for?
Billions, easily.
Yeah,
Jeff
Billions?
Bezos would
Billions.
own it.
yeah, that's
He's
what
the
I
only
said
person
earlier.
that
That's
can
exactly what
afford
I
it.
said. I was like, Jeff
Billions.
Bezos is gonna buy that shit
He's not
with
classy enough.
Amazon gift cards.
Yeah.
It's going to become the new mascot of Amazon.
Hey, guess what,
Well-
guys? I'll give you your entire stuff free shipping off Amazon if you help me out with that painting.
Well, when you equate
It's
it
Prime,
to
dude. Come on.
when you equate it to
I'll
one
throw
of,
in a week on a shutter.
when you equate the fact that one of his paintings, or supposedly one of his paintings, just sold for $450 million at auction.
That's
so the
not,
highest,
yeah, that's not even like completely attributed to him though. This is,
exactly
like
it's to the school
fuck,
of
what's the name of it?
Salvador Mundi.
Salvador
yeah.
Monday. That's the one. It's got like.
I
this
like to
glass
call it
orb and
Mona
shit.
Lisa with a beard.
Yeah, pretty much.
Because
I mean,
he's got the same damn dress on,
yeah.
basically.
Some Saudi prince bought that for like fucking.
it was $450
yeah,
million.
almost $500 million.
So at that point, that's why I'm like, if there's not a B going
Do you
for
Yeah.
think
for her.
that the guy that was in charge of getting all those forgeries done got the same person that did the forgeries that he claimed for Mona Lisa to do one of Salvador Mundi?
It's
And
possible.
it's not even actually Leonardo da Vinci.
It's possible.
It's quite possible.
There are so many like art critics and art restorers and famous people that
Forgers.
look at it and they're
Mark
like,
Landis.
That's not.
they look at it and they're like, clearly that's not even a Da Vinci. It looks nothing
They're like,
his
this
work.
thing is on velvet, and if you hold it up to the light, you can see Elvis behind it.
With
This
some
is
jizz
clear.
stains.
Oh my God.
It's clearly a Da Vinci. He was a prophet. He foretold of the king's coming.
Coming.
Oh,
Get
no.
it? Coming.
Yeah, gotcha.
As Reggie makes a jerk off motion. So yeah, that's
That was crazy.
that's-
Sounds like the Three Stooges try to fucking hire some hookers and then go steal some art.
I mean that's part one of art theft. There's going to be quite a bit of stories about it, and they're all
They're all about this stupid.
they're all
awesome.
Oh, that's great.
great.
I love it.
I could just imagine the Mona Lisa sitting under his bed being like, God, is he going to try to fucking like
There's
bait
one-
and switch this hooker again? Come on, dude. Just pay her this time. Just pay her
There's
this time.
one that happened more recently to the point where they have CCTV footage of the people leaving with this artwork. And one of them was Rembrandt's painting on like aluminum or some shit. A self-portrait, a tiny one. And it went missing for years. And they finally found it. And this dude had it in some like bodega plastic bags behind a counter. It was just like, yep, it's here.
Yeah.
Yoink.
See, you would
was,
totally
I think,
picture art theft in like the 21st century as like
Ocean's 11.
Mission Impossible,
The laser
lasers
beam.
and shit. You know.
All right, dude, we got to build a team. We need a getaway driver. We need a laser guy. We need a Chinese acrobat to fucking ship in a box.
Yeah,
We
exactly.
need Catherine Zeta-Jones.
Yeah, that one was
Zeta Jones.
Lives beneath the lasers.
Yeah, that one was stolen. I think it was between 2004 and 2006. I don't remember exactly, but yeah, and you can see the CCTV footage of it, and it's literally like this. There's like
It's a bunch of like bros.
there's like a minivan, like a early '90s minivan, parked like 150 feet away from the museum, and you just
What
see,
was it? Chevy Astro?
No, not even that cool. Not even that cool. It looks like
the
one of the.
museum. You see them like getting to the airport. Like there's continuous CCTV footage of these dudes just wandering.
But the footage,
documented.
but the footage, of course, is like they take a photo like every 3 seconds, so
Right.
it slightly jumps. So it's this dude like carrying it like this, and he's like running across the parking lot, and it looks totally like Three Stooges because the video quality is so
Stop
shitty.
motion animation.
Yeah, exactly. It's so good.
All right, so we're gonna do more episodes on art theft.
Oh,
then,
there's a lot
obviously.
more.
Good.
Yeah.
It seems like art theft is done by
Perfect.
like the most inept people.
Yeah.
And they have no plans other than putting it underneath their bed or counter. Like
Yep.
At least
And not paying this hooker again.
I mean that was my
not making any money off of the whole fucking plan. Like,
Hey, dude, if you
Fuck.
give me a hand job, I'll let you see the Mona Lisa in person.
yeah, not even doing that. Not even like, throwing it around.
My favorite one I've talked about a couple times is the dudes that dress like police officers in Boston and then proceeded to cut the paintings out of the frame because they didn't know what
Yeah.
to do and they just saw that in movies.
Yep,
and then the
that's-
empty frames just still sit there today.
Yep, that one's coming too. So coming.
Cool.
Coming.
So sounds like we'll get into that at a later date.
Cheers
there.
to art theft.
Yeah.
Cheers.
art theft.
Clang.
Clink.
Remember how we talked
All right.
about how this podcast was going to get ratchet? Art theft.
Last question. This art theft guy. What's his name again?
Vincenzo.
Vincenzo. Drink, smoke, or do drugs with?
I would just drink with that guy because he would
Nope.
totally try to cop
Yeah.
all of your drugs.
I would
He'd be
just-
like, hey, that cocaine doesn't smell right. Can I sniff it again?
Yeah, I wouldn't. I would just avoid him. Like
Yeah.
that was
Hey,
step. That was
hey,
part 4.
It was really,
avoid.
it was a lot of fun hanging out and smoking PCP with you guys. But do you know where the local strip joint is? I got some really nice, like, fine art in my back pocket. Then maybe I can cop a hand job.
This guy
for.
sounds like, one of those Binghamton bums. for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Just will
Yeah,
like
yeah.
never. He will be the guy that's still at the party at like as the sun's rising. Be like, "Hi,
Yeah.
dude, are we going to the gas station and getting more beer or what?"
He also
And
seems like
everybody
the
else
kind
is
of
like
guy,
passed
Salisbury
out and
anymore,
fucking.
same guy that gets like sucked into every pyramid scheme too.
Yeah.
He's just like, if you give me $10, I know this prince. He'll totally pay it forward.
Hold
Yo.
on, I didn't know I knew an African princess, but
Yo,
for
there-
$20, I'm willing to find out.
Yo, there's this Saudi Arabian prince selling Leonardos for $450 million.
Oh, I got one of those under my bed.
Yeah. So to ratchet people.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers, ratchet people.
To the Three Stooges trying to steal
Shitty
art.
thieves.
Clank.
To the Three Stooges and
the,
Christina.
Underdog in this whole thing, piece of shit, Mr. Pablo Picasso,
Oh, yeah.
who took his friend to the police station and was just like, I found this low life outside.
Yeah, who randomly came into this whole scenario
Hey,
for a
man.
brief moment.
Don't forget about the plumber.
The plumber. MVP.
Just open it.
He really made that all happen, didn't he?
Hey, why are you trying to take apart the doorknob when I got a key right here?
It's like, I'm not a locksmith, like I'm a plumber, but I can get that for you.
You think he's Mario or Luigi?
Definitely Luigi.
No, neither. This was France. It wasn't Italy.
Oh, true.
Yeah. Yeah, he wasn't that cool.
Damn.
What's French for Luigi?
Louisiana? I don't know.
Louis?
That sounds-
Louis?
Yeah.
Louis?
Louis.
Jean-Louis.
Steve Louis.
Jean-Louis.
Jean-Louis.
Steve Louis. All right,
Louis,
guys.
Reggie's
We're out.
mortal enemy. Oh, no.
Take a beer with you.
Damaged by you, damaged by me. I'm confused, don't wanna
Yeah.
be confused.
That's why I just kept it to the one.